Hey guys, this is Cardinal5, and today I wanted to bring you guys a video discussing the clutch attribute, and this is for both pitching and hitting. So if you guys have been watching our hangout slash podcast, we talked about this last night. Also, if you guys were not aware of the big roster update and a lot of changes that occurred that affected their overall rating was due to this clutch attribute. So I'm going to kind of show you some players, pitchers and hitters, as well as talk about what the attribute actually does. And lastly, we're going to talk about where I think the developers are, or what stats they're using to drive these clutch ratings. And I think there's a number of different things that they're looking at. So first, kind of talking about the roster update from Monday morning. If you guys noticed, like, a lot of players might have went down, but then some of their clutch went up. So, like, what is this really doing on the field, and why are the developers doing this? So we'll take a look at somebody like McCutcheon, who does have 99 clutch. So what does clutch actually do? Well, I always had a pretty good idea of what it did, and I actually did get in contact with one of the developers, and it kind of just confirmed that my assessment was correct. So let me kind of just quote what he said. I'll kind of summarize it a little bit here. Now, he says, clutch is almost meaningless. It has a small bonus effect. He's saying like 2% at max when there is a runners in scoring resistance situation. So the higher the clutch, they get a slight bonus for the hitting attributes. I'm assuming contact, maybe power and plate vision, maybe even plate discipline. And pitchers, vice versa, when there's somebody in scoring position, pitchers with a high clutch rating get a slight bonus to the per 9, so maybe hits per 9, Ks per 9, walks per 9, home runs per 9, whatever, even though home runs per 9, again, really doesn't do anything. He also says it's really just to account for small anomalies that occur in real life. And we were kind of talking about this last night, like some pitchers that might have a really high left on base percentage for whatever reason. And if you guys are familiar with sabermetrics, there's a stat called fielding independent pitching. There's also one called XFIP. It's that adjusts per ballpark. And what that does, it's pretty similar to whip. It's pretty much saying that pitchers can only control strikeouts, walks, and home runs they give up, and then it adjusts it per the ballpark which they play at. So that being said, it's basically saying, like, and there's also a steady rate for left on base percentage, meaning if somebody has like a 90 left on base percentage, they're getting out a lot of jams. There might be some luck that we can attribute to that certain player, and then vice versa. If somebody has like a 50 left on base percentage, they're just giving up untimely hits. Well, is that pitcher just not clutch, or is it, you know, just bad luck? Sometimes it's really hard to tell, and I think this is what the clutch rating is there for. Like we were talking about last night, and what I said, it is there for anomalies, and I think it is there as a modifier to kind of maybe boost or overall or downgrade it based on things that we can't explain in the game, and I think that's what the clutch rating is there for. So we look at McCutcheon, his power did go down, and I believe his clutch went up. I don't know, it's maxed out, so that is kind of keeping him at diamond status. So what is this really doing in the game? Again, not too much. It's adding maybe 2% max. So his hitting, his contact versus righties, it might go up 2 points, maybe 1 point, 85, 86, and his power might go up 68. You know, whatever 2% is. It's really not that much. It's only going to add a point or two. So that's just something to think about when looking at that for hitters. Now, for pitchers, I'm a big believer in the developers. I know Nick was saying that they do look at some metrics, such as, I don't know if they look at left on base percentage. I'm just going to guess that they are. And I can take a pitcher like Michael Wacha, for instance, who was pitching above what his metrics suggested due to his high hits per 9 as well as pitching out of jams. He doesn't have amazing clutch, but it's above average. And then we also have guys like Bumgarner, and I think this is something else the developers are looking at. Players that do well in the playoffs. We have Madison Bumgarner, who did really well in the playoffs, and I think they downgraded his clutch, but at the beginning of the season, I believe he was 90 something, and I think that's what was keeping him close to diamond. And then I remember a couple years ago, you know, David Freese and Alan Craig, when the Cardinals were hitting really well, runners in scoring position, a lot of those guys were maxed out. And we can also take a look at Holiday, who it's amazing the last few years he's had amazing runner scoring position. He has 99 clutch as well. So it's only going to add a couple points to a contact, and it is going to add to their overall. So don't get fooled by that, guys. Again, overalls aren't really everything. Keep in mind, it's more about the individual attributes that compose the overall player's resume, so to speak. So, and for pitchers, again, I'm not sure that, well, I'm not, usually relievers have better clutch, but let's look at Greinke's 77, and then Kershaw's is 86. So that's just meaning that they pitch out of a lot of jams in real life. That's really all it is. So in the game, if somebody is on second base, 2 outs, whatever. Apparently, it's also I think it's also just runners in scoring position. You guys will know when a clutch situation occurs. Your controller will start to pulsate, start to vibrate. So you'll know that's a clutch situation that is defined within game. So again, Kershaw has a good clutch rating, so that might add just a point or two. And keep in mind, if it's only like at 50, it might only add a point. But if it's at 99, it might add the 2% max, which might add a couple points. So we're not looking at too much of a difference here, guys. So don't get too caught up in this clutch rating. And keep in mind, again, when you're looking at overalls, some of these high clutch ratings is what keeping players where they're at. Like Aegon has a 98 clutch, and if he didn't have that, you know, his overall might be 87, 88. So there's a lot of players out there like that. You guys just have to be aware of, you know, of their other attributes such as contact, vision, discipline, and there's other attributes out there that are kind of meaningless, so like durability, and like I was saying, home runs per 9, base running, aggressiveness. Those really don't do anything. But this video, I just wanted to focus on clutch, so I hope that cleared some things up for you guys if you're kind of wondering what it did. And that's pretty much going to be it for the video, guys. I'm curious to hear your comments on if you guys have noticed anything with the clutch rating, and if you guys noticed that it like actually helps you in game. I'm probably gonna call BS and say it's you know, it's just in your head, and it's, you know, it's not really there. I mean, it's very minimal. So curious to see what everyone has out there. And placebo effect, that's what I'm gonna call it, placebo effect. So it's pretty much gonna wrap up the video, guys. I just kind of want to get that out there. Hopefully this clears up some things. So again, like the video if you like it. Feel free to comment. I'll try to answer your guys' question. This is Cardinal Bird 5 signing out.